Three friends are traveling by motorcycle through the Telgawan forest under the light of a full moon. The ride is routine, with the single headlight cutting through the dark, dense tree line of the wilderness. The group stops when Aja needs a quick bathroom break. He steps away from the road and into the trees, but after a few moments of silence, he fails to respond to his friends' calls. He has vanished without making a sound. Searching the area where Aja was last seen, the friends find fresh blood staining the leaves on the forest floor. Heavy drag marks lead away from the road, disappearing deeper into the thick brush. The presence of blood and the clear trail through the dirt indicate that Aja didn't walk away of his own accord. This physical evidence suggests a violent struggle, and every second he is missing increases the danger. Following the drag marks leads to a clearing occupied by an abandoned two-story wooden mansion. It is overgrown with vines and rotting with age, a perfect sanctuary for something that doesn't want to be found. On the second floor, they find Ajay. His body is suspended from the ceiling by a black rope, his feet tied and his arms dangling toward the floor. His head has been completely removed. The killer steps forward, a woman in a dark sari with no head of her own. She is holding Ajay's severed head, and as she presses it to her neck, she uses his voice to speak to the survivors. She offers a grim trade. The survivors must find her original head, which was taken for her years ago, or she will claim theirs to add to her collection. Survival now depends on fulfilling this supernatural ransom. The threat is no longer an invisible killer in the woods, but a specific transaction that must be completed to stay alive. As the survivors try to flee back to the road, Suresh stops. He doesn't scream or run. He simply falls into a deep, silent trance, his eyes fixed on the house they just left. The headless woman is watching from the second-story window. By making visual contact, she has established a psychic link, overriding Suresh's autonomy and forcing him to walk back toward the mansion against his will. Inside the house, under total possession, Suresh picks up a knife. Without protest, he raises the blade and decapitates himself to provide another head. This death proves that running provides no safety. As long as the entity's original head is missing, she can reach out and claim anyone who crosses her path. To stop the cycle, the narrator stops running and begins to gather information. He questions the spirit to find out exactly what happened on the night she died. Years ago, she and her husband were vacationing at the mansion when 3 drunken teenagers arrived, claiming they needed water. Despite the threat they posed, she opened the door to help them. The husband was murdered while trying to defend his home. When the wife fought back, the attackers stabbed her and then, in a fit of drunken violence, severed her head from her body. Afterward, her body was buried beneath a banyan tree on the property, but the killers didn't leave her head there. They took it with them as they retreated into the forest. Because her remains were separated, her soul is unable to find peace. She is tethered to the mansion via violent loop, forced to search for the piece of herself that was stolen. The key to the mystery lies in a small detail from the ghost's story. She remembers her husband had caught exactly 1 fish before he was killed. The teenagers planned to fry and eat the catch. Since 1 fish couldn't feed 3 hungry men, they needed more. This led them to take the fishing rod and head straight to the pond. If the killers went to the pond to finish their meal, they likely carried the head with them to avoid leaving it at the crime scene. Once there, the easiest way to dispose of the evidence was to drop it into the water. By following the logic of the killer's hunger, the narrator identifies the pond as the most probable location for the missing remains. Searching the entire pond is impossible, especially in the dark. To find the skull, the search has to be narrowed down to the most likely drop point from the shore. A discarded coconut's mass and volume are similar to a human skull, serving as a ballistic proxy. Throwing it from the water's edge replicates the original throw's physics. The splash point creates a 5-meter search radius on the pond floor. After searching the mud within that grid, the narrator recovers the skull. He returns to the banyan tree, reunites the head with the buried bones, and performs a final ritual of burning the remains. With the remains complete and cremated, the spirit is finally released. The narrator survives not through luck, but by treating the haunting as a logical puzzle that could be solved with evidence and physics.